Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 important training rules. This is going to be a very general video so that you can apply these important training rules to really anything that you're going to be training with your dog. Okay, so let's jump in. So for the 7 rules, here's a quick overview and then we'll go through them one at a time. So number 1, you want to teach one new skill at a time. Okay, we'll start up top here, we'll go around the clock. Then you want to use shaping. You want to have easy wins often. You want to be patient, okay? Don't add the cue too soon. You want to keep things nice and light and fun, and you want to make sure you're always watching body language, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about those things individually. So for one new skill at a time, you want to make sure that you're only introducing one new skill per session so you don't confuse or overload your dog, okay? If your dog is trying to figure out, one new skill and then 2 minutes later you're teaching it another brand new skill, it's going to be too much. They're going to be too triggered, they're going to be overloaded, they're going to be overwhelmed, okay? So think of that, whenever you're learning something new, you want to make sure that you're only learning one new thing at a time also, because your brain just can't take in all that new information. That doesn't mean that you can't teach one new skill and then also mix in some older, more familiar skills, things that your dog is already more confident about. That can actually be really helpful because it can help boost their confidence. Just keep in mind that the new skill is going to be harder, so they might offer some of the old familiar ones instead. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward with this. Okay? Next, you want to use shaping. Remember, shaping is like creating building blocks that form your end goal. Shaping also allows for choice and agency. And so what I mean by that is there's a difference between shaping and luring a behavior. So those are two different ways that you can teach a behavior, right? So for shaping, we're going to be rewarding incremental movements towards the end goal. But what's happening is we are allowing them to make the choices, and we're shaping, depending on whether we're doing free shaping or prompted shaping, we're still shaping them towards the goal as opposed to luring. Luring feels more like sometimes like baiting them, and for some dogs it can feel a little bit like a trick. Okay, so shaping tends to be a better way to go, but it doesn't mean that luring is completely off the table either. There are, times and places for both of those, but I personally like to use a lot more shaping than I do luring. That way the dog is kind of ahead of the game making their own choices. Okay, next, easy wins often. This is one of my favorites actually because it's one that gets overlooked pretty often. So once you've added a few new steps, it's a good idea to go back to review the basics and give your dog some easy wins. Doesn't mean that you have to go all the way back to the beginning, but think of this as like, let's say you're learning a new instrument, right? You're learning how to play piano. And you learn how to play the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and then you learn how to play way more complicated things, and you just it keeps getting harder and harder and harder. Eventually, because you can see that it keeps getting harder, you might want to quit, or you might not feel so good about it anymore, just not feel so confident. You might be getting nervous because you know that the better you do at something, if you just keep going, it's just going to keep getting harder. So being able to go back to those things that you're feeling really confident about, like going back to playing Itsy Bitsy Spider every so often, it feels familiar, right? And you're confident. So going back a few steps will actually help boost your dog's confidence as well, okay? So always mix in some easy wins. Don't keep just getting harder. Another one is be patient, okay? It's important to work with the dog in front of you and don't expect him to learn at the same rate or in the same way or order as another dog might. So don't compare your dog to your friend's dogs. Don't compare your dog to your family dog or the dog that you grew up with, okay? Every dog's gonna be very different and they're gonna have their own strengths, right? So there'll be certain things that they might be able to learn really quickly and other things they might struggle a little bit more with. So just make sure you're focusing on your dog, the dog in front of you, and not comparing them even to other dogs in the household, okay? So patience is key. Don't add the cue too soon. So don't add the cue until you are able to predict the behavior will happen. This will prevent you from cueing the wrong behavior at the wrong time. Sometimes what happens is if we add the cue too soon into the mix, either it can add a little confusion overall for the dogs, or they might then offer an old, more familiar behavior, and we might actually be cueing the wrong behavior. We might be pairing the wrong cue with the wrong behavior. Okay, so we want to make sure that, let's say you're willing to put $50 down on the fact that the next time you ask your dog to do that same thing, they will do it, right? If you're willing to bet that amount of money, then maybe it's time to insert that cue in there. But again, don't be afraid to go back either. Don't be afraid to say, like, you know what, this isn't going well. We're going to take the cue away and we'll add it in later, okay? Keep it light and fun. Be sure to reward your dog with treats and play. This shouldn't feel like work. Your dog will be able to use these skills, whatever they are, for a long time. So play the long game. Okay, so we don't want to be in a hurry for these things. We're not rushing things, okay? You want to be playing the long game. We want our dogs to enjoy the process of training and teaching, and we want to enjoy the process of training and teaching as well. So if we're making it feel like work, like we just have to get this thing done and we just have to get it over with, then no one's going to have any fun, okay? So everything should feel like a game or even like a trick. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're watching body language. Watch body language all the time. You want to keep an eye on your dog's body language. Subtle stress signs on occasion are okay, but if it's repetitive or your dog is starting to get avoidant of maybe training or of you or of your hand, anything like that, you want to take a break and reassess. Okay, again, it's always okay to go back, and again, we're playing the long game. So you can see how a lot of these rules kind of overlap with each other a little bit. Okay, so in summary, here are the 7 rules again. 1 new skill at a time, okay? You're going to use shaping. Use shaping far more often than you use luring, okay? You can use luring sometimes, but try to use shaping more often. Easy wins often, okay? Helps to build confidence. Be patient. You're playing the long game. Don't add the cue too soon. Be willing to bet that $50 on it first, okay? Keep it light and fun, and always be watching your dog's body language. Okay, so we should be listening with our eyes at all times. Okay, and one little bonus thing that I like to also have my clients do is take video. Okay, so set up a camera. You don't have to show anybody but yourself, but it's nice to see if you're getting stuck somewhere, you know, why might that be happening? Is your body language off? Are you being inconsistent? Is your dog doing something different? You know, you can see all kinds of stuff on video. And again, you don't have to show anybody else. You can just watch it back yourself. But it's really nice to be able to get video and to be able to go back and assess things. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 7 important training rules. Okay, have at it, have fun.